All right, so you've brought us quite the stack of articles for this deep dive.
Yeah, it's quite a lot.
Seems like Pep Guardiola's recent Champions League, stumble with Manchester City has really spurred the pot.
Oh yeah, it's certainly been a major talking point for sure.
I mean, you've got everything here, haven't you? From tactical breakdowns to almost Shakespearean narratives about Guardiola's destiny.
Yeah, it's very
So
dramatic.
let's start with the basics.
Okay,
Manchester City, a team that's built to win it all, loses to Real Madrid in the Champions League.
right.
And this isn't just a loss, is it? This seems to have opened up a whole Pandora's box of criticisms
It really has.
around Guardiola and his approach.
Yeah, I think this loss has really crystallized a debate that's been simmering for a while now, especially since, well, it's Guardiola's 5th season with City,
Yeah.
and that elusive Champions League trophy still hasn't made its way to the Etihad.
So this isn't about just a single match then. We're looking at a pattern here.
Yeah, and the pattern goes beyond Manchester City.
Hmm.
Critics are pulling examples from his time at Bayern Munich
Oh, okay.
and even his Barcelona days,
Okay.
pointing to instances where his teams, dominant domestically,
Right.
they faltered in those Champions League knockout stages.
Some are even going so far as to call it a Champions League curse.
Yeah, the curse.
But is it really about some mystical force?
Right.
Or is there something more tangible at play here? Something in the way Guardiola approaches these matches?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think to really understand that we need to dig into the specifics of this Real Madrid game.
Okay.
For example, the decision to substitute Kevin De Bruyne when, the team desperately needed goals.
Right.
That's a decision that's been heavily scrutinized,
It does seem, counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Pulling out your playmaker when you're chasing a goal.
Yeah, I mean,
Couldn't one argue that Guardiola's meticulous planning, which has served him so well in league play,
right.
might become a liability in the unpredictable chaos of a knockout match?
That's definitely a perspective worth considering.
Yeah.
And it's not just De Bruyne either. Other substitutions, particularly in midfield, have been questioned.
Mm.
Some argue that these changes disrupted the team's flow and momentum
Yeah.
at these really crucial moments.
Now, to understand these decisions,
Yes,
we need to talk about Guardiola's overall philosophy, right?
I think so, yeah.
What is it about his system
Yeah.
that might be making his teams vulnerable in these high-stakes Champions League scenarios?
Well, at its core, Guardiola's philosophy revolves around positional play.
Positional play.
It's a complex system that's really focused on controlling possession,
Okay.
maintaining specific player positions,
Yeah.
and creating those passing triangles to, dismantle the opponent.
Right.
It's a style that demands a high level of tactical understanding and execution from,
Yeah.
every player on the pitch.
So, in essence, it's very structured, almost a choreographed
Exactly.
way of playing.
And while incredibly effective,
Yeah.
when executed,
Perfect.
flawlessly, it can become predictable.
Mm.
Opponents who've, studied Guardiola's teams,
Yeah.
they know what to expect.
Right.
And that predictability, especially in a one-off, high-pressure knockout match,
Right.
that can be exploited.
That raises an interesting question then.
Okay.
Is this choking narrative, as some have labeled it,
Right.
more about Guardiola crumbling under pressure, or is it about the inherent limitations of his system when faced with the unique demands of the Champions League?
Well, I'd say it's more nuanced than simply saying he chokes.
Okay.
But there's no denying that his teams have struggled to replicate their domestic success
Yeah.
on the European stage.
Right.
Perhaps his methodical, control-oriented approach, which works so well over a 38-game league season,
Right.
becomes a hindrance in the unpredictable pressure cooker environment
Yeah.
of a Champions League knockout game.
That's a really interesting point.
Yeah.
So it's not about a lack of ability or
Right.
tactical acumen. It's more about how those very strengths might turn into weaknesses in a different context.
Yeah.
It's like trying to solve a chaotic equation with a formula that demands order and precision.
Precisely. And if we look at the Real Madrid match through this lens,
Yeah.
certain decisions, like the substitutions,
Right.
start to, they start to make more sense. Perhaps Guardiola, in trying to regain control of a chaotic match,
Yeah.
overcompensated,
Okay.
disrupting the flow of his team
Hmm.
rather than stabilizing it.
Okay, so we're starting to see the complexity here.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not just about Guardiola making bad decisions,
Right.
It's about his entire approach potentially being ill-suited
Yeah.
for this particular competition.
Yeah, that's right.
But before we jump to conclusions, I think we need to compare
Yeah.
his Champions League performances
Right.
to his domestic success.
I agree.
Why is there such a stark difference?
That's a crucial point. And
Huh.
to understand that, I think we need to examine how opponents approach Guardiola's teams
Yeah.
in different competitions.
Okay.
Domestically, teams often sit back, absorb the pressure,
Mm.
try to hit City on the counterattack,
Okay.
Guardiola's system,
Yeah.
with its emphasis on controlled possession
Right.
and positional discipline,
Yeah.
is perfectly designed to dismantle these defensive approaches.
But in the Champions League, the dynamic changes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
The opponents are typically more evenly matched,
Who?
more willing to press high, disrupt City's buildup,
Mm.
and force errors.
And it's in these moments when his carefully constructed system is disrupted that Guardiola's teams seem to struggle.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
So it's not just about individual players or specific matches. It's about the tactical dynamics of the Champions League itself.
Exactly.
Okay.
The higher level of competition, the tactical nuances,
Right.
the pressure cooker atmosphere, all of these factors combine
Yeah.
to create a unique challenge that Guardiola's system, despite its brilliance, hasn't consistently overcome.
This is fascinating. We've gone from a simple question about a single loss
Yeah.
to unraveling a much deeper layer of tactical and psychological complexity.
Yeah, for sure.
And we've only just begun to scratch the surface.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Now that we've established this groundwork, I guess,
Right.
we can start to explore the broader questions.
I think so.
Is Guardiola's philosophy inherently flawed in the Champions League context? Can he adapt and evolve, or is he doomed to repeat the cycle
Yeah.
of domestic dominance and European heartbreak?
It's the big question.
Now that we've laid out the tactical landscape, I'm really curious to dive into those questions.
Yeah, me too.
Especially the one about adaptation,
Right.
Is Pep Guardiola capable of
Changing his stripes.
changing his stripes?
Yeah.
I'm ready to go even deeper.
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's dive in.
You mentioned Guardiola's ability to adapt.
Right.
Some see him as, married to his system.
Yeah.
Almost stubbornly so.
Hmm.
Looking back at his career, is that a fair assessment?
I don't think so.
I mean, hasn't he shifted and evolved over time?
He's certainly not static. That's for sure.
Okay.
His journey from Barcelona,
Yeah.
utilizing that legendary tiki-taka style,
Right.
to Bayern Munich,
Okay.
incorporating more direct play
Yeah.
than to Manchester City,
Right.
where he's blended those elements.
Yeah.
It shows a willingness to,
To
tweak and experiment.
you experiment.
Yeah.
But is it enough? The Champions League seems to be the
Yeah.
the puzzle he hasn't quite cracked.
Hmm.
Some critics argue that while he innovates,
Right.
he doesn't fundamentally deviate
Yeah.
from his core principles,
I see.
which might be the sticking point.
It's true that there's a through line
Yeah.
in his philosophy,
Okay.
that emphasis on controlling the game through,
Possession.
possession and positioning.
Right.
But look at his use of inverted fullbacks,
Okay.
for example.
Yeah.
That's a tactical innovation
Okay.
he's brought to the Premier League,
Right.
one that's been highly effective.
You've got me there. That is a specific example of him adapting to a new league and
Yeah.
finding solutions.
Yeah.
But the question remains,
Okay.
can that tactical tinkering translate to Champions League success?
Well, this is where the psychological element comes in.
Okay.
The pressure of those knockout rounds,
Yeah.
the weight of expectations.
Right.
All those factors can impact decision-making even for someone as experienced as Guardiola.
Some have even argued that his desire for control might work against him in these high-stakes games.
Yeah.
Where a moment of brilliance,
Right.
a bit of individual magic,
Yeah.
is sometimes needed.
I see.
He seems hesitant to relinquish that control.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah.
Perhaps his meticulous planning, which,
That's right.
thrives in a controlled environment,
Right.
becomes a liability when the game descends into chaos,
Yeah.
as it often does in those late stages of a Champions League tie.
It almost feels like a paradox.
Yeah.
The very qualities that make him so successful.
Right.
The meticulous preparation.
Yeah.
The tactical discipline.
Yeah.
Might also be holding him back
It's possible.
when the stakes are highest.
That's a thought-provoking observation.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder
Yeah.
if there's a fundamental tension
Okay.
between his desire for control
Right.
and the unpredictable nature of
Football
at its most elite level.
We've discussed the tactics,
Yeah.
the psychology,
Right.
but we can't ignore the elephant in the room.
Okay.
Manchester City's immense wealth,
The money.
yeah. Does that amplify the pressure of Guardiola? The expectation that with such resources, Champions League glory is a given.
Undoubtedly. I mean,
Yeah.
the financial aspect adds the
Layered.
layer of scrutiny.
Okay.
The narrative becomes,
Yeah.
you've been given all the tools. Why haven't you built the masterpiece?
And that raises a bigger question.
Okay.
About the nature of success in modern football. Is it purely about trophies?
Yeah.
Or is there room to appreciate the journey, the evolution of a playing style, even if it doesn't always result in
immediate silverware? That's a debate that extends beyond Guardiola, of course.
Right.
But in his case, it's particularly pertinent.
Okay.
He's revolutionized the way the game is played, inspired countless managers.
Yeah.
Yet the lack of a Champions League trophy with City hangs over him like a cloud.
So we're back to the question of
Legacy. Yeah.
How will history judge Pep Guardiola? Will it be through the lens of Champions League?
Oh, triumphs.
Just triumphs, or through the broader impact he's had on the sport?
Well, I think that's a question for the for the football historians, ultimately.
Yeah.
But one thing is certain. His achievements, his influence on modern tactics can't be erased.
And yet, the Champions League remains the
missing piece.
The missing piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Is it possible for him to achieve that ultimate validation while staying true to his principles?
Yeah.
Or will he have to compromise, adapt in a way that might betray his core beliefs about how the game may be played?
That's the dilemma he faces. And the answer, as with most things in football, is far from simple.
It's almost like a Shakespearean tragedy unfolding.
Yeah, it kind of is.
This brilliant, innovative mind, seemingly destined for greatness, wrestling with this one elusive goal.
It's quite a story.
Perhaps there's a lesson in that struggle.
Maybe.
A reminder that even the most talented, the most dedicated can be thwarted by forces beyond their control.
It happens.
By the capricious nature of fate?
Right.
Okay, that's getting a bit philosophical for me.
A little bit, yeah.
Let's bring it back down to earth.
Okay.
We've explored Guardiola's side of the story.
Right.
The tactical and psychological elements at play.
For sure.
But